Hey guys, we just had the reveals and stuff go up for Legends Festival 2022, and definitely have seen a bit of negative responses, negative reactions to the first part of Legends Festival here. So I'm going to do my best to take a look at what we've received objectively and compare it to what we've gotten in the past, and analyze sort of what I think is going to transpire over the course of this Legends Festival celebration here for Legends this year in 2022. Now, this might not be a very positive video, and I think that it's probably warranted for, you know, us to give them a bit of criticism, just because I'm with you guys. I think a lot of you guys felt a bit underwhelmed by the reveals and stuff. I even mentioned in my initial video, when I'm trying to be I'm trying to be a positive person when I'm looking at these reveals, and I think for the most part they do a good job with these big celebrations, because if we're looking at this from an objective standpoint, like, they're giving a lot of stuff out. There's a lot of campaigns, social media campaigns, login rewards, missions, raid events, new currencies, all this stuff. So I think they do a good job of providing the player base with ample resources and different currency items to further their accounts. But when it comes to, you know, generating hype, generating excitement, and creating characters and summons that people are genuinely very excited for and interested in summoning for, I'm not sure they hit that mark this year. And I think there are two celebrations in particular that I want to compare this celebration to. And so the first one is going to be the Legends Festival last year. So what I've done is I've pulled up the reveals and stuff that we just looked at today that just came out, and I've pulled up the reveals and stuff from last year. This is Legends Festival last year, 2021. Now, the first thing I definitely want to say is there's definitely a bunch of stuff in this reveal for this year, but look at how long the reveal was last year. Over an hour. Over an hour of stuff. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, I'm not necessarily saying there's a correlation between the length of the reveal and stuff with how good the celebration was, but I mean, this is like not even close. An hour and 3 minutes compared to 28 minutes. I think they did compress a lot of information more in the reveal this year, but I mean, they definitely put a lot more work into actually conveying information to us last year, and it looks like they just put more effort into the reveal last year. So that's a bit strange. In terms of the actual content of the, you know, information that we see here, again, there's just more info in the reveal last year, but I think overall, when it comes to like the quantity and quality of campaigns and rewards, it's mostly the same. So I think when it comes down to criticizing the actual rewards and campaigns, I'm not going to say that, you know, oh, last year just blows this one away, because it's definitely not true. And again, I'm trying to look at this from as objective of a standpoint as possible. But I think when we're thinking about what makes these celebrations the most hype, it's not how many free tickets are you getting, it's what are the characters, right? Everybody's most interested in talking about the characters. And this year we have, you know, an interesting lineup, at least for part one here. We have, I guess we can sort of take a look at this. I'll just play it as muted here. So we have an EX Majub, which is, again, a copy and pasted character. So the only time when they really haven't copy and pasted characters, I guess we've had a few outliers like Yajirobe, like where they've had to create models from scratch to create these EX characters. There's been some you know, outliers in there, but the anniversary, I think, is probably the most applicable celebration we could look at, right? The UI Goku banner, which was the first banner that released, featured UI Goku, the transforming Super Saiyan Vegeta into Blue Vegeta, and we did get two EX characters. We got a base Kale, and we got Urine as part of that banner lineup. Those are the two EX characters featured on the banner, and they were both brand new characters. They were new character models. They created them from scratch. They didn't exist in the game prior to this. Whereas with this celebration, we have Majub, who already exists in the game. This is literally just a copy and pasted animation, copy and pasted model. Then we have Omega Shenron, who, again, already exists in game. Copy and pasted animation, copy and pasted models. Nothing new at all. That didn't take any design at all to create this character. Just the art and the kit, which we haven't seen yet. So we'll have to see how that works. But In terms of actual development time to create these characters, pretty much zero. So when it comes to the actual sparkings, we have a Android 17, which is an interesting decision. I don't really know if that was one of my first characters to come to mind of what I wanted out of a GT-centric celebration, GT Android 17, but interesting, but sure. And then, of course, we have the tag Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta, which is definitely a good release for Legends Festival. I am not knocking the hype of a combined Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta character. In my opinion, should they have been given a new mechanic? Should they have been given a fusion of some kind? Definitely think so. I think at the very least what they could have done, if they didn't have the development time or resources to devote to actually creating a brand new mechanic from scratch, one of the things they could have done, and this was a solution, not a solution, but I guess an idea that I had for a character like this for a long time, is at least in the LF animation for this character, have them fuse, and then Gogeta is the one that does the LF. Like, that would have been really, really cool. Having Gogeta come out, do the LF, and then that was sort of the way that they added a bit of extra flair to this character. But the way that I see this, and again, if we compare this to last year, remember last year, part 1 of Legends Festival, we had a lot of stuff. We had, obviously, the LF Sword of Hope Trunks. We had Goku Black and Zamasu. That was one banner. And they also came out with an EX Mai. So there's 3 new characters on this banner. And then we had a second banner come out that featured the first ever tag character. We had the EX Final Form Frieza. We had the green Dragon Ball Super Broly. And then we had the Goku Vegeta. So we had a total of 6 new characters come out on part 1 of Legends Festival this year. Obviously, we had 4 new characters that were pretty much created from scratch. The Broly, all the Sparkings, the Broly, the Goku Black and Zamasu, Tag Goku and Vegeta, and the Sword of Hope Trunks. And I would probably argue as well, I'm just going to let this play out, this Goku and Vegeta tag reveal was probably one of the most hype reveals ever. And I remember people were going absolutely crazy for this character. And if you compare the hype just surrounding the reveal last year to this year, it is nowhere close. Unfortunately, it is not even remotely close. Like, if you just look at the animations of this character and you look at the animations and compare it to the animations of the Super Saiyan 4s that we just got revealed today, I would argue that it's not even remotely, like, this is like different level completely. It's almost as if they had like double the time, double the resources to work on this character. Look how crazy this still looks today. Still one of the best looking animations in the game, this LF animation right here. You compare this to the Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta LF animation, I think it's not bad, but it's not matching this. It's nowhere even close to this. So I don't plan to, or I don't pretend, I guess, to know what goes on behind the scenes. It's possible they might have run into some roadblocks along the way in developing the Super Saiyan 4s, and maybe they just didn't have enough time or resources to devote to them. And compared to how they devoted time and resources to this character. But keep in mind, they're releasing 2 LFs at the same time, 2 separate banners, and they still were able to give this character the love and care that it deserved. And I think that this character's animations just fell short. I mean, we'll let this play as well, but it's, again, I think the animations still look good. I'm not saying that these animations look bad, but I think when you compare this character's animations and how hype this looks, it is just, it definitely falls short of the hype that, I guess the bar that was set last year with the tag Blue Goku and Vegeta. So that's my opinion on this. And with that said, there's one other thing I definitely do want to mention. Well, I guess there's 2 other things. One quick thing as well that I actually forgot to mention in the initial reveals of reaction video that I did is they did not mention any kind of Zenkai awakening. Now, I'm not too surprised by that, just because we literally just got an LF Zenkai, and they don't tend to cluster LF Zenkai releases that close to each other. So I don't really know if I expect to get another LF Zenkai, at least for a while, maybe towards the end of the Legends Festival celebration. Remember, this celebration goes into January, the beginning of January. So maybe somewhere to conclude festival, they give us an LF Zenkai. But at least for right now, I don't think we're going to get another one. But at least a normal Zenkai. Something I would expect here. I mean, there's a handful of GT Sparkings left that could definitely use a Zenkai. So it would have been nice to at least have them tease one of those characters for a Zenkai. And then the big thing as well is last year, I believe they had a big thing for this. Let me see if they mention this here. If I could find this is a gigantic reveal. Like, let's see if I can find this. But the big thing about last year's reveal and stuff was they announced that, yeah, here's the Vegito Zenkai Awakening, by the way. They announced that the banners were going to have 3 times Zenkai, 3 times Z power and triple sparking rates. On this reveals and stuff, they did not mention that at all. So I'm under the assumption, this is not confirmed yet because we haven't seen the actual banners yet, but I am under the assumption that that means that we're just simply not getting the 3 times Z power, 3 times rates this year. I think it'll just end up being a 2 times rates, 2 times Z power banner, similar to pretty much every other LF step-up banner that released throughout the year. So that is definitely a massive letdown. And again, the only reason why that even matters is because I am comparing Legends Festival this year to last year's Legends Festival. I think that's a fair comparison. So the bar that was set last year, I think, at least so far as part 1 is concerned, certainly not being met by this year's celebration. And I think that's a fair statement to make, especially from an objective standpoint, from what we've seen so far. At the end of Legends Festival, could this eclipse last year? Sure. But we have to wait and see what happens. So far, I'm not getting that vibe. But with that out of the way, I think the more fair comparison to make, and by fair, I mean fair in structure of the celebration, is to the anniversary of this year. The 4-year anniversary featuring UI Goku, Dragon Fist Goku, and Ultra Super Vegito. Because I feel like now that we know that part 1 is only going to have 1 banner and 1 LF character, I am under the impression that the way that they're going to be structuring the celebration, at least moving forward until the end of Legends Festival, is similarly to how they structured the anniversary. I know people do not like this structure at all, but if you look at how financially well the 4-year anniversary did for Legends, it was their most successful financial period ever in the game's history. And I think that is probably the most important thing for them, right? Just to capitalize on the financial success of how the celebration was handled for the 4-year anniversary. And so it makes sense with that information in tow to copy the same format for Legends Festival this year. I initially did not think they were going to do that, number one, just because of how little time they have, right? Because right now we are basically at the end of November. Recording this video on November 25th. The banner goes up today, and there's basically a month left of the year, and that's it. So I didn't think they'd have enough time to squeeze in like 2 major releases before the end of the year. So that was the main reason why I didn't think they would copy that format. But after this reveal, I think it's most likely that they are going to copy that, because I really, really don't see them just doing this one banner and then an ultra banner and then calling it for the Legends Festival. I don't think it's going to happen. So with this in mind, I think what will probably happen, let's just recap real quick. I can close this out of this now. For the anniversary, UI Goku released on May 28th. This is the first day, the start of the anniversary. Then we didn't get the part 2 character until June 22nd. So you're talking like a little bit over 3 weeks before we got the part 2 unit. And then Super Vegito, this is actually not an accurate date here. This is because this is when his banner returned for the first time. But Ultra Super Vegito's banner initially released on July 13th. So that, again, is pretty much a 3-week window in between banners. So we pretty much had 3-week gaps in between these 3 banners, which is why the anniversary felt very drawn out and long this year. Because if you really consider what the structure of these banners looks like and what happened during the anniversary, it really wasn't much different than like a normal 3-month span. We got a major release in May, we got a major release in June, and then we got a major release in July, right? That's typically how the game works. We get one major release per month, with really, I guess October was a bit of a anomaly where we got, I think we got Final Form Cooler and Broly, Ultra Broly in the same month. So, but I don't think, based off of the timeline that we're seeing for Legends Festival this year, I don't think we're going to be seeing the same gap of time in between these banners. We can't. And the reason why I say we can't is because I really, really, really do not think Legends Festival is going to spill into January. Well, it is going to spill into January, but I don't think we're going to be getting a major release post New Year. I think they're going to try and capitalize on the hype of the end of the year period, holiday period, New Year period. That is when everyone's spending their money. Q1 is not really that important when it comes to finances for these companies, and also people just aren't willing to spend as much money in January anyway. So that's the main reasoning behind why I think that they're not going to wait until January to release characters. So what that means is we're getting the Super Saiyan 4 banner today. November 25th is when this banner's coming out. So that leaves a period of about a month of when we can expect to get the remaining 2 banners, assuming they're following the same format as the anniversary. I would probably say the next LF banner is, I mean, if we really are going to squeeze in 2 major releases, I would probably say the week of the 5th of December. Today's Friday. This is Japan time. Today's Friday, November 25th. Then we have next week, and then the week after that is the week of December 5th. I maybe think that Wednesday or Friday we can expect to see the next LF. So basically 2 weeks from now, I think it's possible we see another LF release. And then if they want to follow the same pattern as the prior year, which I think is the smartest thing to do financially, we probably would see the Ultra character come out either the week of the 19th or that weekend. So, either the 21st or 23rd. That 23rd is a Friday, so that would be a pretty decent time to release the character. But again, just to recap, I think this banner coming out November 25th. Next banner for the LF character, whatever that ends up being, I think could come out on the 7th or 9th of December. And then the Ultra character, I think, could come out on the 21st, 23rd of December. And that would sort of be how the structure of this Legends Festival is going to go, I think. If they really want to squeeze all that in a month period, that's going to be a lot of banners squeezed in for the end of the year here. But that's seemingly what they're going to do here. So we'll see if that's what they do. But I would say as a concluding remark here, comparing this to last year's Part 1 of Legends Festival, overwhelmingly worse. Overwhelmingly worse. In terms of rewards and free stuff, 2 thumbs up. But the hype level and the banner structure and the amount of characters to actually influence the meta, I think we're going to see definitely not as much of an impact as we did last year, which is definitely a big L, I would say. But in terms of comparing this to the anniversary, again, it seems at least just from the fact that they're only giving us 1 LF for Part 1, they probably are going to be following the Part 1, or I guess the anniversary format from this year. So we'll see if they really are going to squeeze all those banners into that short period of time. But yeah, let me know down below what you guys think. I'm looking at this from an objective standpoint. There's no part of me that will actually say, even if I'm trying my hardest to be positive, I can't realistically call this as good of a celebration as we had last year. And to take a step down, with the same celebration as we did in the prior year, it just does not feel good. So I think at the end of the day, we're probably going to be comparing this more so to the anniversary. And so that's why I wanted to focus more so on the anniversary in this video, at least in terms of banner structure and character releases, which is what people care about the most. So we will see if this ends up being better, but hope you guys enjoyed this video regardless. Hopefully Part 2 and Part 3 end up being very, very strong for the celebration, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.